I have had the Luxsin X9 for a short while now, but I've used it long enough to do a review, and it's a fairly easy review really. There's quite a lot of features in this DAC slash headphones amp, but they're easy to use and they're quick to use, and the differences you do notice sort of immediately as well. There's no sort of extended A/B testing you need to do or anything like that. I've been comparing it to my K11R2R with the iffy iPower V2 power supply. So that power supply did improve the sound, not substantially, but noticeable enough to be enjoyable. So that's a really great setup at the moment for 100, well, under £200 basically. And my IM 880 with the Sparco's 3602 op amps. I've done a review of this already. I've got in previous videos, so check those out. So at the moment, what I have in my setup is the X9 is acting as the DAC and headphone amp, as well as the K11R2R. That's connected, or both of them are connected to my PC via USB. The K11R2R is connected by RCA to the power amp on the 880, and TRS XLR balanced cables are going from XLR output on the back to TRS input balanced on the 880, and it just makes it so much easier to switch between the two. So that's how I've been A/B testing it basically. And firstly, just want to cover some features and things of the X9, then I'll talk about sound differences for both passive speakers, Triangle Comet 40th anniversary, and also headphones, which I have the RES Stealth. The biggest difference is in the headphones amp output compared to the K11R2R and some other headphone amps that I've had, including the DX3 Pro Plus from Topping, as well as the FiO K7 and some other dongle DACs and things that I've had as well. So let's talk about the features first. I've got some music playing in the background, low volume. All of the things I'm going to show you on the display can be done via the app as well. You also have a web interface, so if you navigate in your web browser to the IP address of the unit, you can change the same settings there as well. And the touchscreen is capacitive. It is really responsive as well, so that works really cool. I like that a lot. I wasn't expecting it to be this sort of smooth and good. You can do OTA updates directly from within here as well, so that's kind of cool. You get full control of all the settings, so you can change the display brightness, timeout period, sleep period, and so on. You can change the knobs, the volume knob brightness. So I've got it off at the moment, but if I put it on medium, you get a little nice ring LED on that, which is kind of cool. But I just have it on off, don't really need it on. You get some other controls as well that you can change. But the magic is in the settings for the EQ and everything, so I'll show you that in a second. But for the outputs, you've got RCA, XLR, and headphones. Now when you plug headphones in, it will automatically switch to headphones output, so that's kind of cool. And the volume setting is remembered between the outputs as well, so you're not going to blast your ears off or damage your headphones if you've got loud volume on speakers output, as an example. So that's kind of cool. I'm using USB-B at the moment, but you've also got USB-C. But you've got Bluetooth, HDMI, ARC or eARC support as well, which is awesome. And you've got analog RCA input as well. So swiping left gives you those settings screens which you can configure stuff. Swiping right gives you the audio settings screen. So I've got it on bypass mode at the moment, which is what I use when I'm using speakers. So these are passive speakers going to the power amp, so I've got no need to have an EQ because I'm really happy with the way it sounds out of the box. The DAC is awesome, just like the K11R2R's DAC. But if I did want to change the sound, I just toggle the bypass off, and if I had headphones connected, I've got my RES Stealth preset on there at the moment. You can go in there and tweak various settings as well. Now you can apply the presets for headphone specific EQs or HP EQs from the app or from within here. It's probably easier via the app because you don't have to have a small screen and everything to scroll around through. Or you can just turn the headphones optimizations off and enable the filter mode. And what the filter mode does is gives you options to adjust things like stereo width. So this is the sound stage and stereo imaging. This works really well. I have got a separate video just for this feature, and I've got my lavalier mics set up on my headrest to record in stereo. So I'll link to that video in the description below, so check that one out on another time. And what you also get is various other options to change subwoofer, tone output. You've got tone controls and everything as well. So everything is fully featured here. If you don't want to use them, just touch it again to toggle it off. And what I like to do is have HPQ on and bypass toggle. So whenever I'm using headphones, I'll just toggle that off. Whenever I'm back on speakers, I'll toggle it back on. One bug in the current version of the firmware, I believe they are looking into this because I did message them about this, is when you plug in headphones and have the headphone EQ enabled, when you disconnect the headphone EQ will remain enabled, and it also applies the EQ to XLR and RCA outputs as well. So by default, or technically, it shouldn't do that. So I believe they are working on that. So I am expecting the firmware update to come out to remedy this. But at the moment, it's just a quick, whenever I go back to speakers, swipe right, toggle it back on, bypass, and that's it. We're back to normal. In terms of materials and things, it is really good quality. Now they say it's diamond cut on this front face here, and it is slightly different to the rest of the casing finish. It is really high quality as well, so it feels like it's price and it looks like it's price. The volume dial does have a ratchet to it as well, and it feels similar to my A80's dial. So it has a sort of a sound to it. So take a listen to this. So you hear the relays click as I'm adjusting volume, as well as I'll show you the mess on the back, the connections and cables. It is taking up quite a bit of desk space compared to my other separates. They're more traditional compact desktop sized, but as you can see, this is actually bigger than both of them combined. But that's okay, I've got enough desk space anyway as it is, so that's no problem at all. Now, sound-wise, compared to the K11R2R's DAC, it is more or less similar out of the box. So with the bypass mode enabled for speakers, it's very similar. You can then go in and obviously, which I showed earlier, change the EQ or change the special effects to adjust the soundstage and everything like that. So if you had speakers which didn't quite embody the soundstage you wanted, you could improve that by going in there and turning that on and having that set. So that's pretty cool. If in bypass mode, I have found the K11's R2R's DAC is already really good. So I had no reason to really upgrade. So for the additional 850 odd pounds that this would cost, I would not get this. I'd stick to the K11R2R just because that DAC is super good anyway as it is, and no problems at all. It's an R2R DAC and it has the R2R warmth and smoothness to it, which I really like. This just refines it a bit further subtly as a DAC. Headphones is where this comes into its own. So once you enable that headphone EQ and set the preset that you want, that's when things change. So my Aria Stealth transformed, basically. It is a noticeable difference and it makes the cost kind of worth it. There's more full of body in the Aria Stealth now. Kind of like what I'd probably expect if I changed the Aria Stealth to, I don't know, HE1000i or maybe even the Susvara. But now you're getting that fullness. The bass extension is even deeper now and even more alive, but not boomy or anything like that. And the soundstage has subtly improved. So the soundstage is still as good as the K11R2R, but all of those other frequency ranges and the dynamic range especially, that has improved once the headphone EQ, the HPQ, was enabled. So that was a surprise to me. I was not expecting the headphone output to be as good as it is. I was expecting a small difference, a small improvement, but it ended up being a surprising difference to the point where I would probably buy this just for the headphones output alone. But I do mixed usage, so I've got my speakers, I've got my headphones, so I'm more than happy with the K11R2R. If I had that, under £200, can't really go wrong for the level of output you're getting from that. But once you start A/B testing the headphones output compared to the X9, that's when things take a different turn and you realize this is where the additional cost is going. The development time involved in building this architecture and all the components inside. And there's a reason why this is so much bigger, not just because it's got an internal PSU, but also the additional componentry. So yeah, the Aria Stealth has a new lease of life, and it was going to be an end game headphone for me anyway, regardless, even if I kept the K11R2R. But now it's got a new sort of sound to it, which I'm enjoying again. So I'm rediscovering the Aria Stealth, and I'm 100% confident that any other headphone you've got will also see a similar kind of benefit. Now I'm using the 4.4 balanced output, but the balanced and the XLR balanced outputs have the same power, so there's no difference between the two. If you've got 4.4 cable, stick to it. There's no need to buy an XLR cable. And you've got the 6.35 single-ended output as well. So that's less power. I didn't really show some other features. So you have got additional VU meters and all that kind of stuff as well to play with. Just swipe up or press up on the volume on the remote controller. And some of these are really cool, so you get some additional information and so on, whereas some of them are a bit rubbish, like you saw the other one there. This one's quite useful. It shows you the volume as a percentage and decibels. You've got your classic blue VU meter. This actually looks really cool from a distance. Looks kind of authentic as well. The way the animations are so smooth and slick. And back to the graphic EQ. But these two are a bit naff. I'm not really a fan of those, to be honest. But I stick to this because I like to see the entire frequency range working away. But yeah, that is the Luxsin X9. I will be doing a full written review of this as well, which I'll put in the description below. So check that one out once that goes live in a few days. But yeah, this is me signing out.